Hi everyone, Christine and Paton here from
Hi.
PC Adventure. Today we're going to do a little bit of storytelling of our separate occasions going through Evolution Basin.
Yeah, so I hiked through Evolution Basin in 2022. I was doing the North Lake South Lake loop. It was a 60-mile through hike that goes through Kings Canyon National Park.
And I was going through Evolution Basin in 2019 on the PCT. It was my last days on the PCT, the hike that I did that year. And so we're going to get into some of the things that we encountered, why we loved it, and why we would do it again. So, stick
Let's get
around.
into it.
Yeah, story time.
So when I hiked through Evolution Basin in 2022, we were doing the North Lake South Lake loop, that 60-mile through hike through Kings Canyon. It was gorgeous. We went over Paiute Pass. We ended up at the base of Evolution Valley that night. On the next morning, we hiked up and over into Evolution Valley, which was incredible. McClure Meadows is right there, and it looks like something out of Yellowstone. It doesn't even really look like the Sierras. It's this huge meadow.
Yeah, so Evolution Basin, I don't even think we mentioned that, is in the Eastern Sierra. So it is out there and it is beautiful. It's quite close to John Muir Pass, which is on my Evolution Basin trip. That's where I was ending up that night. So when I went through Evolution Basin, it was 2019 on the PCT. And that night, again, I ended up at John Muir Pass.
Yeah, that night we ended up staying at at Evolution Lake. On the way up to Evolution Lake, up to Evolution Basin, we encountered a huge thunderstorm. It rained on us on the trail like torrentially. We had to stop and take cover under a bunch of trees. I remember a bunch of mules, like a pack mule team had gone by, and I thought that was pretty cool. Once we got to Evolution Basin and Evolution Lake, it was beautiful. The clouds had cleared just a little bit. The light was shining through. The lake looked absolutely gorgeous. We picked our camp, and we only had about maybe an hour before more storms came in. And with those storms, it started thundering and lightning. There was lightning hitting the mountaintops, like right above the lake, right above where we were. That was really cool. A memorable experience was having to dig a moat around my tent to keep the water from splashing in. And it got close. I was looking at it like, oh man, I need to dig a moat because it's going to flood in here if I don't.
You know what's funny is my time through Evolution Basin, I had encountered very similar weather where it was sprinkling, then rain, and then hail, and then cleared up. So what this reminded me of was being on the Colorado Trail in 2017. The first night on the Colorado Trail, I had to dig a moat as well. There was torrential downpour. We weren't even super high up, but it just ended up coming down really hard. So had to dig a moat. So when you've told me this story before, it reminded me of that. And then when we were trying to come up with a second video idea, we're like, we've both been here. Let's talk about these stories. And so mine, I had just gone to John Muir Ranch the day before going through Evolution Basin, stocking up on all my food supplies for a 5-day carry. It was the last food carry, so it was like, pack it in, let's go, last 5 days, So when I got to Evolution Basin, it was lovely to have lunch by the lake, watching the clouds rolling in, kind of taking my time. But then once it got a little bit grayer, started hearing some thunder in the distance. That's when I packed it up and then started making my way around the lake. Did you guys stay at the lake?
Yeah, we camped. Yeah, we camped at the lake, and like I said, it was part of a 6-day through hike, and I remember that next morning I woke up early because I wanted to get out of there because I knew that more storms were coming, and I wanted to get up and over the pass before it was too, didn't want to get hit by lightning, obviously.
Yeah, and so when I packed up from lunch, made my way around the lake, that's when I could see back and see the clouds coming over. Again, it reminded me of the Colorado Trail, which is where I had encountered 2 to 4 thunderstorms every single day on that trail, minus one. And so it had like a similarness to it. So it brought back some really fond memories and made me reflect back on why I was even on the PCT. The Colorado Trail was my first thru hike, and that's what gave me the taste of thru hiking and made me obsessed with it. And so I just remember being in reflection while going through the hail and being super cold and wet, trying to make it to Muir Pass safely. We wouldn't have gone up if it was like lightning and all of that, but it did remind me of that, and just like, wow, this is like what thru hiking's about. You get tested with all the elements, with all the aches and pains, with all of the things that come along with thru hiking. And it was just like, again, it was my last days, so I was in like a reflection mode anyways, so it just ended up being like a beautiful, beautiful time getting to Muir Hut and being able to stay in the hut that night. Don't tell anyone, you're not supposed to do that, but it was lovely. Actually,
Yeah.
It was one of my...
It was out of necessity, though.
It was out of necessity.
You were up there at sunset, so...
I was up there at sunset. It was quite cold. I was wet from all of the rain
it's
and
like
hail.
It's like 8 miles from there to the nearest camping. Down, if you were to keep going to LeConte Canyon, it's like 8 miles to get down there from your house.
It was out of necessity for sure. Would I do it again? It's kind of wet and dingy in the hut.
Yeah, did it smell like John Muir in there?
It definitely had a stench. I don't know of what or of who, but yeah, no, it was great. And again, that sunset, after making it to the top, that's when obviously just everything stopped, and it looked like the sky was on fire with all these different layerings of the clouds, and the sunset that night was just incredible. And that's kind of what going through the trials and tribulations of getting to a pass, or going through days and days on end through a hike, and you're getting to these like lovely views. That's when you're like, this is why I do it.
Yeah.
One of my main hashtags on the PCT was #views from the top, because that's kind of what it was. Is just getting to those views, knowing you put in those steps. Every step counts, and you got to take every step for yourself to get to the top, and it's just absolutely rewarding for sure.
Yeah, one of my highlights of the Muir Hut was, this is a little personal, but we went with me and my brother and my roommate at the time on this hike, and we had brought like a small little thing of my dad's ashes, and we released, we tossed some ashes up into the air right at the John Muir Hut, and I love that. It was great.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, what an amazing place to, leave a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautiful.
So anyways, that's our little recap of going through Evolution Basin. We can't wait to do it together.
Yeah.
And again, I'm so excited to go through there again. I absolutely loved it. I got some of my best pictures I've ever got from backpacking, on that trail through that section.
Same here. I mean, that's one of my favorite pictures that we probably shown already or about to show. Is one of my favorite pictures on the PCT was that sunset at the Muir Pass. So, can't wait to do that amongst all the other trips that we have planned. Tell them about our 4th of July hike, baby.
Yeah, so 4th of July, we are planning to hike through Desolation Wilderness. We're going to hike all the way from Wrights Lake over Rockbound Pass and then drop down and hit Lake Aloha and then go over Dix Pass and end up over Phipps Pass at Meeks Bay. So we're doing, I think it's about a 35, 40-mile hike. Super excited for that. And after that, we get to spend the time with family in West Lake Tahoe. Enjoy the 4th of July.
So excited. I haven't done that section or those areas in the Sierra yet. And so I'm really excited to do this 4th of July hike. This week we're going to be hiking and mountain e-biking through Sly Park, which is just over here kind of close to us. So we're going to be mountain e-biking out to a waterfall and getting some really good media for that, some of our adventuring that we like to do around the foothills of Tahoe.
PC Adventures.
PC Adventures, baby!
So be sure to stay tuned. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate it.
Like, comment, subscribe.
We're trying to put out weekly videos. We're running into a lot of technical difficulties, but we're doing it.
This is our mic right now. Check 1 2 1 2.
We only have one mic. Not optimal.
We did it well, right? Okay.
Anyways, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Can't wait to see you guys next week on our next e-bike adventure.
Yes, thank you again for watching our adventures, and we're going to continue to prep for the AZT in October 2025. So continue to follow along the journey. Thank you.
Boom.
Okay. We're done?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're done.
I think we did it.